Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that was with your mom in the Amazon when she was studying spiders right before she died. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
Here 400 episodes in.
By the way, I'm Josh.
We have a great show for you this week. We have a bunch of things we're going to be talking about, a bunch of movie trailers, a bunch of other stuff. Oddly enough, as soon as the actors' strike ended, we have news.
Wow.
What? Weird, huh? But first, let's get into some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
So what have we been doing this week?
Oh my god, what have I been doing this week?
Well, you were tabling at a convention.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because I was also at the convention.
That was kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
TORG happened, and we were both there. I was kind of working there.
Yeah.
Maybe explain to the audience that might not know what TORG is.
TORG is the Ohio Retro Game Convention. I showed off a game I've been making there, because they're nice enough to let you do it for free if you apply.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I had my little monitor and laptop set up so people could come out and play Mighty Mini Golf, my mini golf game.
I heard there's some great voice acting in it.
Yeah, this is really solid
Top
voice
notch.
acting.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you couldn't really hear it in the
convention hall,
because it's loud. But it was fun. A lot of people played the game. A lot of people seemed like they liked it. It was fun to watch. There was more than a couple times where it was a kid and a parent playing my game, and that was really fun to watch.
Oh, that's cool.
People seem to like it. I got a lot of good feedback of stuff to add. Like, I need to make it so you can change your starting position between the 3 spots on the whole of the beginning.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's cool.
Which that would make multiplayer more fair too, because right now they start in 2 different positions. It would be better if you could choose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
So that's gonna be in the game, but it was a really great time. I loved the convention too. What little of it I got to see.
The convention was really fun. Yeah. So Jordan and I were able to kind of peruse the entirety of the con, and it was a fun little con. You know what? They did a really good job setting the thing up. It was run really well. A lot of really cool vendors. I mean, there was a lot of retro games. That's mostly what it was.
It was people peddling retro video games, which, like, that's fine with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jordan and I came in costume, and we both had people go, "Oh man, I love that costume." Yeah, like not 5 minutes after walking into the building, someone said, "Oh my God, you're Captain N. I need to get a picture with you."
Aren't you? Doesn't it make you happy when people recognize the character?
You know what?
Because it is an obscure character.
It's obscure enough. But if I was going to wear that costume anywhere, it would make the most sense at a retro gaming convention.
This convention felt like the most tuned to my particular interests than any convention I've ever been to, because it was mostly old video games.
Yeah.
It feels like love for retro games has kind of gone up, and I feel like part of it is like lost media kind of stuff.
They've gone up with the prices.
They've gone up with the
well,
prices.
that's true too.
Yeah, imagine one of these cons 10 years ago. Everything would be like so dirt cheap.
Yeah, you get 5 NES cartridges for $1.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a bunch of old gray consoles with a bunch of Palatine or whatever.
I even, like, as little as I got to shop, I still ended up spending way more money than I should have.
Oh yeah.
I rebought the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. I didn't.
Oh, nice.
I somehow lost those cartridges
wow.
somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
But now I've got all 3 again. I can sleep at night.
Too bad 3's bad.
Yeah, well,
it's different.
It's still a Donkey Kong game. So
that's true. That's true.
It's bad for a Donkey Kong game, but it's still better than most other platformers that are like it. I
guess.
That's
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I see that.
I picked up the original Final Fantasy for the NES for
$25,
which is like $5 cheaper than I've ever seen it anywhere.
That's not bad. Yeah, I mean the prices did seem pretty fair for a lot of the.
Yeah.
I mean,
priced accordingly, but priced to sell.
Yeah, and it was fun. A lot of vendors just want to show you their neat stuff.
They just want to show you their stuff. Yeah.
A guy, I was asking about Final Fantasy 1, and a guy's like, "Oh, you got to see this one I got." he pulls out a mint in box one.
Whoa.
And he's like, check this out. It's $300. Do you want to buy this? I'm like, I don't have $300, but he let me look at it, and it was mint. And the
Wow.
instruction book was gorgeous, had tons of like cool art in it and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like if I had $300 lying around, I probably would have bought it.
Too bad it wasn't like graded or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's
I got
cool.
Punch Out.
Oh, nice.
Like the original Punch Out?
No, it's a Mike Tyson's
Oh, okay.
Tyson List Punch Out.
Oh,
So-
featuring Mr. Dream.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I mean, that's
fine.
yeah.
It's the same game.
I'm buying these to play them more than anything.
Yeah,
so
of
I
course.
don't need Mike Tyson.
I tell you, one of the things that I don't regret many things in my life, but there was a time in which I was like, I'm getting out of video games. I'm done. I am now an adult, and adults don't play with these things.
These children's
And
toys.
I sold all of my Super Nintendo games. I sold all my 64 games, my PlayStation games, everything. Got rid of all of it, and I regret it.
Oh yeah,
And I've halfway had in the back of my mind, you know what? I should try to
reconnect.
I have a list on my phone. I went through like the Wikipedia article for like every Super Nintendo game ever made, and like to the best of my knowledge, found like, okay, I had this one. So I have the list of like, how can I make my collection whole again?
That's what
Your Thanos
But I
collecting
will
your
never have the money to do it.
your Infinity
Never.
cartridges.
Yeah.
I just buy games that like I like or like mean something to me or
Oh,
just,
sure.
like,
Well, that
feel
too,
like
yeah.
they're necessary to have like what's considered good for that console kind of.
Sure, but I mean, I do that, but I also have a lot of nostalgia for some of the cheaper kind
Yeah.
of games.
Oh
like,
yeah. Like I know it's a terrible game, but I used to play the Volkswagen Beetle racing game on
I
the
like
64.
that game.
That one's pretty
a
fun.
lot.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm talking like Daffy Duck and Duck Dodgers, the
Hey,
Super Nintendo game.
hey.
I played that all the time because it was, one of the ones I had back in the day.
It's like Cool Spot on the Genesis. I loved that dumb game.
The other game I bought, it's not considered like a Stone Cold classic by any means, but I bought Adventure Island.
oh yeah,
The
Adventure
NES
Island.
one, like-
Yeah.
I know that's not gonna make anybody's top 10 list, but I loved that game as a kid. It was one of my favorites, and I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, I can't believe I don't own this, and I picked it up for $12. I'm like, I gotta have this.
Yeah. I remember I had the Animaniacs game, and you were the Animaniacs in a janky platformer trying to stop Pinky and the Brain from taking over the world.
Is that the one that has like the slot machine reels on the bottom of the screen and it
does.
doesn't make any sense?
Yep, that's it.
I remember that game.
I was terrible at it, but I had it. I had that. I had the Phantom 2049. The Super Nintendo tie-in game to that weird
the Billy
like,
Zane Phantom game or Phantom
No,
movie.
it wasn't Billy Zane. It was the animated series made by the folks who did Aeon Flux.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That game was non-linear, and if you didn't have a complete guide on how to get through the game, it was nigh
It was
impossible.
like a Sierra game.
Yeah. It was a platformer, but it had a full map of the entire city, like with different levels.
I forgot about
and
the
if you
the
didn't know
series.
what level progression to go in, you couldn't beat it. It was wild. Yeah. So
Oh, man.
I have nostalgia for those games
Back
because
in-
they were the buy them for $10 and you're good. Yeah.
Like I had back in the day, I had a lot of the staples. I had the Marios and Zelda.
I never owned Super Mario World.
Really?
So I love telling this story. So everybody
I think I've heard this story.
everybody had Super Mario World. Everyone did because it came packed in with the Super Nintendo, except for a special edition that came with Ken Griffey Jr. All-Star Baseball.
That's right. You have
Which is
told
a
this
good game.
story.
It's a good game. I loved that game.
It is a solid baseball game.
The only thing I didn't that in hindsight I wasn't a big fan of that game was that it didn't have on-cart memory. So I would spend hours changing all of the names of the baseball players because none of them, they only could license Ken Griffey Jr.'s name. Everyone else was made up names.
Nintendo's not paying for more than that.
Right. And so I would spend hours changing the names to like different different things, and not just like to match the league at the time.
roster, yeah.
But like I would put superheroes, like the Justice League was like the Cleveland Indians or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would turn the system off, turn it back on, and did not save any of them. So you'd have to go and do it all again.
God,
Yeah.
You think they would have sprung for the battery backup?
You would think.
There was a baseball game I had on the original NES. I think it was just called All-Star Baseball.
Okay. Not Bases Loaded, because that's the one everyone had.
Or RBI Baseball.
Nope.
I had that
Nope.
one.
Okay.
It was just called All-Star Baseball.
All-Star Baseball. Okay.
They had no actual teams in it, no actual players. And you know what? I loved that game.
I actually had Bases Loaded for the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, and that was a solid for what it was. It was a solid baseball game.
Talking about the original Game Boy, I had the stupid True Lies video game for the Game Boy.
Wow. Okay. All right.
That game sucked, but it was so hard.
A lot of my favorite sports games are 8-bit ones. I don't know what it is.
It's like the simplicity makes it more fun, you know? Yeah.
Like Blades of Steel, that hockey game.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a killer
Steel,
hockey game.
yeah.
Oh, there was a basketball game on the NES where you were allowed to punch people.
Arch Rivals.
Yep.
That rules. That game rules.
Like I remember like running across the court with my arm cocked up like this.
Clocking
when
people.
Yeah, when
Just-
you hold the B button down and it like cocks their arm back.
That's awesome. That's great.
And the
you
joke-
release the punch.
And the joke was the referee was blind. Basically, he was like this little old man who looked like that one character from Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights.
And you can trip on him too.
Yeah. I used to love that game. Like someone would be dribbling down the court, and here I come, just conking people, making them drop the ball.
Trucking people across the court. That's great.
It was NBA Jam before that.
NBA Jam was a thing. Yeah.
Well, it was made by the same people too. So
Yeah.
the DNA was there for NBA Jam.
Oh, that was such a goofy, stupid game. I had this wrestling game on the Sega Master. Mm-hmm. It was just called like Pro Wrestling. And I remember if you got somebody in a chokehold and you kept like hitting the button and you did it right,
They would die.
their head would literally pop off.
Oh, wow.
No blood or anything. The head would just like, boop. That system was weird, and a lot of people never remember it.
Well,
Like,
everyone had the Genesis. A
Well, yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
didn't
And the
have
Master was the
Master
precursor
system.
to that.
Yeah. It was the NES to the Genesis's.
The Master was the first game system I ever owned.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I didn't own an NES until like a couple years after.
Did I have the Super Nintendo before the Game Boy? We were a Nintendo household. I didn't have a Sega until like
Yeah,
years later.
I
I
didn't
picked it
either.
up back when you can get an entire system and a box full of games at a garage sale for $5.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I got this. That's when I got my Genesis.
Man,
but like,
if you had a time machine, and you could go back.
oh, I tell you what, slightly OCD. I kept all of my games in their boxes when I had them. I never threw away the boxes.
I threw away the
stored them.
boxes.
I had plastic tubs full of. When I'd play a game, open the box, pop the get the game out, and I kept everything in the boxes. I wish
That would have been a gold mine now.
I had a mint Super Metroid
Oh.
with the instruction booklet and everything, because I kept all that stuff. I read them like
The
remember
pages were all
back in the day where you're sitting in the back of the car and you have nothing to do, but you have your
You're waiting
instruction
to get home to play it.
you have your instruction booklets that you're just reading and just dreaming of how the game's going to play when you get to it.
See, I can't read in the car.
Oh, okay.
It makes me sick.
Gotcha.
I could barely do anything in the car other than drive and sleep.
Fair, fair.
Hopefully not at the same time.
Well, no. I haven't done that in years. But no, so we never kept the boxes. Mm-hmm. Half the time, I'm not even sure if we had the boxes, honestly, when I was a kid. But we was this black plastic thing with drawers, and it had like a fake wood grain thing on the
Oh,
front.
nice.
Oh, I think I've seen something like that
And it pulls
online.
out, and it
Yeah.
had slots.
Oh, sure.
For games.
Like a cassette tape holder.
Yeah,
but
like a
for
cassette.
games, Yeah.
Yeah. And like it, but I had all the dust jackets for my games.
Like the little plastic sleeves
Yeah.
on the bottom.
Or the big black one that the old NESs had.
Oh, sure.
Because
sure.
it was cut just enough so you could see the label of the game.
Now, I never had the plastic piece that you would.
Because they never actually did anything. They
didn't.
stopped making them after a while because they
Yeah.
didn't really do anything.
Yeah, and plus it made it hard to store them because it was bigger than the bottom of the cartridge itself.
Yeah.
Because newer ones came with it fit just the shape of the cartridge.
One of the booths that TORG had Nintendo 64 ones that were branded on the front, and I'm like, oh, I need one of those. But it was $70 for one. And I'm like, oh, nope, I guess not.
Yep.
Because Nintendo 64 cartridges are the worst to store because they didn't put any labels on the top.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't tell what a game is without pulling it out and looking at the front.
I've seen, I mean, it technically destroys the mint classicness of them, but I've seen Etsy stores that people have made
labels for the top.
labels for the top that you could just buy and label a top. And if I were to start collecting again, I would do that. I would go the extra mile because, again, they're not for collecting, they're for playing.
Yeah.
And if it makes it easier to store,
There's this guy that I've seen online. Granted, I don't have TikTok, but I get a lot of TikTok adjacents through like Facebook Reels and stuff.
Sure,
which are just TikToks that have been re-uploaded.
Yeah.
Or YouTube Shorts.
Or YouTube Shorts, which are literally the same thing.
Instagram stories.
Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway,
Vines.
God, man, I miss Vine. Vine is where it all started. Anyway,
How could you miss Vine but not care about the other stuff? Because it's all the same.
Yeah.
I know
It's all the same.
I know. It's just
I actually quite like TikTok. It's a good way to just watch some videos to kill time.
It is on my phone, and I will open it up every now and then, but I'm not... TikTok feels like the line where I have, like, decided, okay, this social media is not for me.
I used to feel that way about it, but then Samantha got into it and she's shown me
like
stuff on
seriously,
it.
like everybody at work, even people I don't know, you hear TikToks everywhere. Everyone is just sitting there watching TikToks. It's a thing. It's a pandemic at this point. Anyway,
I like the roll for sandwich guy that builds a sandwich based on his D&D rolls.
Oh, okay, that's a funny...
good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
anyway, to get back to my original story.
Yes.
So there's this guy, and he only does Nintendo 64. He has all the consoles, all the special editions. He has it displayed like in this special 64 cave in his house with like a CRTV in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So he has all these games in like graded jewel boxes, complete with book or complete with box and everything.
Yeah.
But he has drawers with the playable versions of the games.
So he's bought everything
Twice.
That's obsessive to a level that I can't.
It must be
stand
nice to
behind.
have that kind of money.
Yes.
Yeah, well, influencers can get that way nowadays.
Yeah.
Most of my Nintendo 64 games I got lucky at Goodwill.
Yeah.
See, I can never find any like Goodwill gems.
You have to go a lot.
Sometimes I think about I want to go to like a Goodwill in a nice area of like Columbus or something and find some real goofy stuff.
Oh yeah, if you hit the right spot, you can find some.
Oh yeah, I know.
Some real good stuff.
Oh, have I been
classic games?
I know. Have I been doing anything this week other than the stuff that I always do?
Also, those original Donkey Kong countries look so much better on a CRT than they do
Oh,
on
I bet
Switch.
they do.
duh.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
keep thinking about like getting a hold of my dad and be like, hey dad, can I come home and you help me lug my old CRTV into my car because I cannot carry it on my own. I guess speaking of classic, but it's not really classic. Fortnite is having a limited season right now of OG Fortnite, where we're playing on the original map.
Yeah. I from what I understand, Avengers Endgame actually called it because we are 5 years in the future, and Chonky Thor was playing classic Fortnite when they find him in New Valhalla or New whatever.
New Asgard.
New Asgard. Yeah.
Yeah. Korg's like, cool. Thor. It's Noob Master 69 again.
And apparently, according to one of the directors, Noob Master 69 was Wong.
Really?
He said, yeah, he was playing against Wong.
That tracks.
It does.
That
it
tracks.
does. Absolutely.
I mean, Wong is honestly one of the best characters in the MCU.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like-
yeah. Yeah.
Wongers. And he just wanted to watch The Sopranos, and he kept getting spoiled and pulled away from it. He just wants to sit in his little room in his little apartment and Watch.
That was She-Hulk, wasn't it?
That was She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I
Yeah.
wish that would get a second season, but it won't ever.
It won't, but it should.
It was definitely a glint in the darkness.
Although I bet she's going to show up as a supporting character in
a
Daredevil.
Hulk movie.
Daredevil.
Oh,
probably.
Yeah, could be.
I mean,
Probably.
Daredevil is in her series.
Yeah.
And the Daredevil Born Again series is supposed to be a slightly lighter take
Of the Netflix one.
Yeah, I've heard it's actually a lot closer to the. Do you remember the Mark Waid run where he
Was that the yellow red suit?
That was the regular red suit. Okay. Like there's a bunch of meme pictures of like Matt Murdock at a Halloween party with a T-shirt that just says I am not Daredevil.
Not Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah, that's from that run.
And he's got little horns on his head.
On his head, yeah. It was not a full blown comedy series, but it was like Matt Murdock had all this serious stuff that happened in his life in the previous run, and Mark Waid, the writer, was like, yeah, he's going to be trying to like ignore all that and is trying to fake being back to lighthearted comedy, jokey Daredevil, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But he was like forcing trying to be Spider-Man, kind of.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things that I feel like none of the Spider-Man movies have really nailed is how fun and goofy Spider-Man can be.
I'm going to disagree
I know. Amazing Spider-Man. I know.
I think, oh God, what is his name? The middle Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. I think he was the closest to getting to the comedy Spider-Man.
He definitely had more quips.
Yeah. I think
I still feel it wasn't enough quips, but he still had.
Sure.
But he still had, like when he's sitting in the back of that car and the guy's like, "What are you, a cop?" He goes, "Do I look like a cop?"
Yeah, he was the closest. Yeah.
Also, it's kind of funny how it takes a British guy to do a Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Because two out of the three.
Hey, there you go.
But
it's Spider-Man, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it? Oi, Governor, I'm the Spider-Man, eh? But yeah.
I was talking with Samantha the other day about how Hello Kitty is canonically from London.
Yeah.
And it was like, wouldn't she be called Hello Kitty instead?
You do that, and all I hear is the Hello Governor from Regular Show. That black and white horror movie that Rigby got nightmares for. Being chased by an evil British taxi. Hello, Governor. And it's this Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love Regular Show. We're on another rewatch of that one.
Nice.
Them casting Mark Hamill in that show was the best choice they could
really
have made,
was.
so they would have him in their back pocket the whole time.
Yeah, but he does like 100 characters. He skips in a couple others, but he is like every random side character they've ever had, basically.
Sure, why not?
I like Techno, the
Cybermancer
guy, yeah.
The Technomancer. That's what he is. He's a Technomancer, and he skips back in the Revolutionary War.
I don't know, the callback to the bunch of baby ducks sent to the moon come back as a Power Rangers team with their giant robo.
We actually
Voltron team, basically.
We just watched that episode again, an episode where they call them because there's a bunch of geese. And they're like, "Hey, do you know anything about geese?" They're like, "Oh yeah, they're jerks." They're like, "You want us to come take care of it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then like the geese form into like a King Ghidorah style monster, and it has like missiles in its chest, and it's like Scrabble missile. And but then the baby duck robot, combiner thing, because then not Rick and Morty.
Wow.
Rigby and Mordecai. Hey, the letters are there, right?
Yeah, it's close enough.
Riggs and Morty.
Riggs and Morty form with it.
Just made a T-Fury T-shirt.
I know, right? I know, right? They form with it, and they do the Ultraman beam.
They do.
I was like, I was like watching it with Nicole. I'm like, that's the Ultraman beam. It's kind of wild, like, as you've consumed more media over the years, like, how many references to things. Like, once in a while, I'll see, like, a compilation clip of the Akira slide.
Oh, sure. It's in everything.
Yeah. And the fact that it keeps getting used more and more.
It was in the live-action Jordan Peele movie. It's in Us.
Yeah, they do that.
Or not Us, Nope. It's
Nope.
in Nope.
It's a Nope with the horse, right?
No, it's a bike.
It's a
Oh, it was a bike? Okay.
Yeah, he did it on a bike.
I thought someone made a joke about them Akira sliding a horse.
No.
I feel like there is an Akira slide on a horse somewhere.
Yeah, I know I've seen that somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, Connie does it online in Steven Universe.
Yeah,
at
That's
one
true.
point.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolverine did it in a movie using his claws.
Sure.
Did you see there's like a Sentai parody anime coming out? It's called like Go Go Loser Ranger.
Yes,
Yeah, and the Rangers are jerks.
Yes,
They're like
I've been
evil?
following it. It's based on a manga. And yeah,
I saw a clip of it the other day. I'm like,
it's
"Ooh,
coming
I
out in
wanna
early
watch this."
2024, and it looks really good.
Yeah, and
Really
like the
good.
Rangers are like, they're seen as heroes, but they're not really
Yeah,
heroes.
they're also like the totalitarian government is Power Rangers. Like,
Yeah.
Basically, they beat the big bad years ago, and they force all of the minions to now put on shows of like every Sunday because the minions can regenerate, so they go through and kill them all every Sunday.
Yeah, and then like
in a coliseum.
and like the hero of the show is like an ex-minion, but he actually
Is
has like superpowers.
He can disguise himself as a human, and he kind of works his way into becoming a junior member of the Sentai and tries to destroy it from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the gist I was getting from the clips I saw.
It looks really good.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Yep. We have to take a break, and when we come back, we will get into some news.
My grandpa have a radio show. It's called Long Play. He just plays old records. I'm not sure what that is, but they make Grandpa really happy. If you like old records, you can listen with Grandpa if you want to. Friday nights at 11 and Saturday afternoons at 3. Right here on WZMO.
Hey, we're back. You just missed some Star Trek discussion.
We
over
were
the
talking
break.
about some Trek. Yeah.
We were Star
Yeah.
Trekking across the Broadwaves.
Some good Trek. But so we're back from the break. We're going to go ahead and get into some news. I don't think we should repeat any of our Star Trek news. That is a time and a place, and that's for us.
That was just for
that
us.
was just for us, I think.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of things. Like I said at the top of the show, as it turns out, when there's no actor strike and no writer strike, there's movie
news.
trailers.
Yeah.
There's news. There's things to talk about. So let's pick a thing off the list and start rambling. What do you guys think?
Let's talk Zelda movie real quick because
sure.
I know you guys talked about it last
We
week.
did, but you're
But-
kind of the Zelda-man here a little bit.
I am so mad about it.
Really?
I am so my jimmies have been rustled.
Oh no,
in a
not
way,
the Jimmies.
In a way, they've not been rustled in a long time. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's going to be a terrible movie.
I want to give it the benefit of the doubt because we said kind of the same thing about the Mario movie a little bit. We're like, oh no, Illumination's going to do a Mario movie. There's going to be minions everywhere. It's going to suck.
At least
it was fine.
It was at least inoffensive.
It was
yeah.
fine. But it's
the people they've chosen for this do not inspire any sort of confidence whatsoever.
No, because the people that are tasked with writing it were like attached to
Maze Runner, I think.
Maze Runner, and
it's tangentially attached to Morbius people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony's working on it.
Just Sony in general. Like, when was
Why
the last time they
Sony?
made a movie you wanted to see?
Yeah.
Venom.
Okay, you got me there.
Well, Morbius, but that's because I'm a sick individual who
Well,
loves trash.
that was more like
Venom seemed like it was good in spite of everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Venom, the first of Venom, should have been terrible.
yeah, you come out of it kind of going like, why did I like that, but I don't know why.
Good. Which they're working on the third one now. The Legends of Zelda movie, it's not inspiring a lot of confidence. And the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, okay, who are they going to cast? They need someone who is slightly androgynous and is also an it factor. They're going to cast a name instead of someone that is going to be right for the role. If they cast Timothée Chalamet in this movie, which you know they're going to,
Yeah.
it's going to be bad because it's
feel
not
like-
the right energy.
I feel like anybody they cast I'm not going to like because I can't think of any person who would actually be Link.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really don't. I
Yeah.
really don't. Like, and
Like,
also
it's going to be like Timothée Chalamet or Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago, people were doing like, AI mashups of Tom Holland as Link. Because people were like, he'd be a good Link. I'm like, no. As much as I like Tom Holland,
Not the right energy.
no one has the right energy.
The only thing I can think is if they were to do like an Ocarina of Time and they cast an unknown child actor for the first half of the film and then have the excuse to cast an adult Link as someone else.
As future Link.
As
But
future
they're
Link.
not going to do that.
You know what? Ocarina of Time has the most, I would say, most linear and story.
It has the most to grab onto story-wise.
Because they're not going to do a Breath of the Wild movie because that's too open-ended.
It's going to look like Breath
It's
of
going
the
to look
Wild.
like Breath of the Wild. Of course, yeah, but it's going. I would think the story is going to be is going to be closer to Ocarina.
It makes the most sense, but God knows.
Yeah, and you can chop out the most from Ocarina and still make the story make sense and fit it within an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, and they could do like, I don't know, like a montage of going through dungeons and we have to see every dungeon.
I'm just like, no Zelda would make that good of a movie.
No,
though.
it won't.
It's about the gameplay. It's not the story. Is just the window dressing, and I don't think there's enough in any game to make a decent movie out of.
Listen, we already have the movie Legend. We don't need
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
And also, they're going to make Link talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hope they don't, but they're going to.
It just doesn't need to be done. Some things don't need to be a movie, and I think Zelda is one of those things.
What if they make the movie like the animated series?
Well, excuse me.
See, that would be fun, and I would be into that. But everybody else would be mad.
Yeah, everyone will hate that.
Everyone else would hate it, but I would love that.
Yeah, I would get a kick out of it.
And
but
still the fact they're making it live action. I'm like, it's not gonna work.
yeah, it's
Just
like,
because it worked for Dungeons and Dragons doesn't mean it's gonna work for Zelda.
and it's like, well, once you make it animated, it's like, well, just go watch Princess Mononoke then. At that point,
Yeah, that's true.
It's such a good movie.
It is.
That's true.
I love
That's
Mononoke.
true.
It's probably one of my favorite Ghibli movies, but it's also one of the more dark, serious ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. There's no real good artistic reason for it to exist.
Money.
That's why I said artistic.
Oh, fair.
Hey, what was your decision to do this? Money.
Money.
God, we need a clip of like Mr. Krabs for the soundboard.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing I could think that would be a good thing in the Legends of Zelda movie if they do one scene with the Happy Mask salesman and it's actually Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be rad.
Creator cameo.
Yeah, that'd
because
be pretty good.
looks like him.
He does.
He's producing it, but that still doesn't fill me with any sort of good feeling.
No.
Just because the Mario movie was kind of a success, I don't think Nintendo really needs to go diving into
Yeah,
stuff.
I think they jumped into this one way too quick.
Yeah.
They should have waited till they could get better people involved, or just not do it.
They should have tested the waters with a live action Metroid movie.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, they should have live actioned a less popular franchise first to see how it goes.
Yep. They're jumping in too soon. Anyway, let's talk about some other stuff here.
Also, Peter Jackson could have.
Jackson could have done. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
but he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have wanted to. So
No.
they should have just not did it.
No.
No. I mean, Peter Jackson himself is pretty opinionated. There are whole
Yeah.
parts of the books that he didn't do because he didn't like it.
Why did my brain just go Guillermo del Toro Zelda movie would be good?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, 'cause
that
he-
would work.
Well, he has a concept of like, weird horror, and there's a decent amount of weird horror in Zelda.
The Guillermo del Toro Majora's Mask movie is one I would definitely watch.
Oh man,
Could you think of like
friend of the show Doug Jones as Ganon?
Yeah. See, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, he's so thin.
That's all right. He wears prosthetics. It's all
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Yeah.
But no, could you imagine like how horrible the half Hyrulean, half Skakula thing would be?
Oh, the Skulltulus.
Yeah.
No, the spider. The
Yeah,
spider.
the Skulltulus.
The people who were turned into Skulltulas
Yeah, that would
in
be
the
a
house. Yeah.
horrifying monster man. Yeah.
That continue to talk about Sony movies, though. There's a trailer for Madam Web,
Oh no.
and it's not good.
It's not. So Madam Web is a Marvel character
who is tangentially kind of connected to Spider-Man.
in the in the sense that she exists only within the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
And so Madam Web is not a popular character.
No.
People probably know her. People our age probably know her solely from the handful of episodes she was on the Saturday morning cartoon.
The 90s one?
Yeah. She was voiced by Joan Lee. She was voiced by Stan Lee's wife.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah. So in the comics, Madam Web she's technically a mutant for one. She is a paraplegic, blind psychic who is elderly and gives Spider-Man vague clues about going and solving crimes for a while. And in this movie, they have cast her as what's her name from 50 Shades of Grey.
That's who
And
that
she's
is?
not blind,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
she's
who
not
that is.
paraplegic, and
She's an EMT,
she's
I guess.
an EMT, I guess, and she sounds so sleepy and just completely bored delivering every one of her lines.
Everybody's lines are delivered badly in that trailer.
Everybody sounds like they're about to fall asleep, and also the trailer made me want to also fall asleep. So that's the kind of energy they're bringing into this.
This movie, okay, so I can respect the fact that they're going with some deep cuts for some of the characters. Like the villain is a character from the comics. He's a more modern character from a bad time in Spider-Man comics where they're like, oh, there have been other Spider-Man type people because of mystic magic something or other.
I mean, it was
time.
the beginning of the Spider-Verse, and
It
that
was
is what
technically, that's who the villain of this is. He's Spider-Man, but not, because he's old and magic and also maybe a vampire, kind of.
sorta.
But only to people who have spider powers. Also, this means that there are, at least 4 or 5 people with vague spider-esque powers, because you see Spider-Woman and Spider-Woman and Aranya, who is another Spider-Woman, but they're all plucky teens. Sassy teens with a Z at the end because they're cool.
And they had they had the black suit Spider Girl, which is a pretty iconic character.
That's Spider-Woman. That's Julia Carpenter.
Yeah.
It feels like Birds of Prey if the entire cast was slipped a bunch of Z-Quil beforehand.
Yeah.
And not good.
And not good, yeah.
There are a lot of people dunking on...
Watch Birds of Prey. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of people online dunking on line delivery from the trailer, especially like at the beginning of the show where you mentioned about
that's what that reference was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that line is delivered badly.
Yeah. In
It's
fact, Cody,
too
I
long.
think you delivered it with more emphasis than Dakota Johnson did in this trailer. It was bad. Also, the rumor is Adam Scott in the trailer, who is Madam Web's plucky EMT sidekick, is actually Uncle Ben. Pre-murder death.
Pre taking care of Peter, pre getting shot by a mugger or whatever.
Yeah.
I was getting shot by Joe Chill, but that's a different guy.
That's a different guy. Yeah.
That's vengeance.
But no, it looks bad.
The Batman
is
a good
bad
movie.
for making it.
The Batman was a good movie.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, it is.
It's a long movie.
Let's talk Garfield, because that was the trailer.
Oh, yeah, the Chris Pratt Garfield movie.
It looks fine.
The art style does harken to what you would expect a Garfield to look like.
It looks Jim Davis-y.
It looks
does look
sufficiently Garfield-y.
Not as much as like that Peanuts movie looks like Charles Schulz.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
I forgot about that.
But it's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, for taking a very old syndicated cartoon strip from a newspaper that you could make into a CGI or a computer animated movie. God, I feel old every time I say that.
John may be a little too attractive looking.
What?
Which is it's a weird phrase I've said just now. He doesn't look losery enough.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't look like.
I think John in the comics looked loser enough. He just looked like a dude. He's
a loser.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of his whole shtick.
I don't know. His hair looks too coiffed.
John's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, John's a lonely dude, and he doesn't really get a love interest until he starts taking Garfield to the vet.
He kind of has like Tumblr sexy man vibes in this trailer.
Kind of does a little bit, unfortunately, and it's sad that I know what you're talking about when you say those words in that sequence.
He's once slurring.
I mean, that's kind of how the English language works.
Yeah, he is kind of once slurry. He's kind of Loki-esque in a waifish loser kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like the idea of the Garfield movie getting into Garfield's parentage.
Origin?
I don't care.
that's the first time we've ever seen Garfield's father is in this movie.
And he's huge.
And he's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson.
I mean, the comics have had his mother in it,
Yeah.
Sonya. I looked this up the other day. That's why I have it in my brain.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can really think of like that really speaks to my mind on Garfield, other than like, you know, the characters themselves, is that one Christmas special where John goes to his family.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a solid Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
I love that movie.
Yeah, John Arbuckle's grandma
Loves Garfield.
Is great.
Yeah.
She's like a health fitness nut, and they keep making fun of his younger brother, Doc Boy.
Doc Boy, yeah.
Yeah, Doc Boy. Doc Boy.
But Doc Boy's also kind of a jerk.
Yeah, and he's voiced by Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to see this Garfield movie because it's not for me.
No, it's neither am I.
For kids, but
Sure, but it's
Chris Pratt's really phoning it in, though.
you know
It's
what?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Every thought that we had about him doing Mario's voice, apply those feelings to Garfield, and it's
Yeah.
And it's
Accurate.
true.
Even though he's doing even less here, too.
yeah,
Because at least occasionally in the Mario movie, he would do some sort of
kind of a
like mild voice, mild inflection or something.
He was at least kind of New Yorkish. He was kind of doing a thing.
The best
in
part of the
Garfield,
whole-
he's just, hi, I am Garfield.
He's literally making the jokes that he's literally doing the jokes we made on the show when Chris Pratt was announced as Mario.
Hello, give me the lasagna.
Also-
where is my stuffed bear Pookie?
Also, in the trailer,
F normal.
John is eating a pizza. It should be a lasagna.
It should be a lasagna.
I know
I mean-
they bring it out later in the trailer, but it should be from that very first moment. It
Yep.
should be lasagna.
It should be a lasagna.
Just narratively, like it's a harder punch.
Or
Like,
maybe it's just the fact that they're getting into the Garfield just really likes Italian style food. Lasagnas, pizzas, spaghetti.
yeah, but when you think
But it
Garfield,
should be
you think
lasagna.
I know.
lasagna.
When you think of Garfield, you go, hate Monday, love lasagna, kick Odie off table.
Yeah. Yeah, and male normal to
Male Abu Dhabi.
Abu
Yeah.
Dhabi. Yeah.
Yes. All right. We have a couple more things
Do
here.
we want to talk about more Warner Brothers stuff?
Sure. More Warner Brothers stuff. So there's the Coyote v Acme stuff that
With
keeps
John
going on.
Cena, the John Cena movie
Yes.
that got canned.
What is his role in this movie?
He, from what I understand, he is it is Wile E. Coyote is suing Acme for years and years of broken equipment that he's bought.
Which is a hilarious concept.
And John
I love
Cena
that.
is a high-priced lawyer that is either working for Wile E. Coyote or working for Acme against Wile E. Coyote. It's a great concept.
I love that idea.
It's a
yeah.
great concept. Well, did we talk about it last week where they decided to shelve it for the tax write-off money?
No, I don't think we
Okay,
brought it up.
so Warner Brothers, David Zaslav of Warner Brothers decided this movie is 100% completed and it had been getting good reviews.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
tracking
from-
well.
it was tracking
From
really
past
well.
Tracking well.
audiences, Yeah.
And he decided that, I think we're just going to never release that and take a $30 million tax write-off.
Also, John Cena is pretty much literally printing money.
yeah.
People will watch
He's
anything.
a bankable star.
He is. He
Yeah.
is. He's got all the background of The Rock, but he's actually an enjoyable person to watch.
And people like
Well-
being around him. Like,
Well, yeah, no, that's fair.
Nothing to get. I mean, I like a lot of things The Rock is in. I have a lot of feelings because The Rock was from the era of wrestling that I really watched a lot of stuff from when I was younger. But John Cena is way more, I don't know,
likable.
yeah, palatable. He's a very palatable person.
There's-
He's legitimately funny. He's one of the
there's
best parts in
something-
Bumblebee.
There's something about The Rock, like when you see like a TikTok he's in or something outside of a film that he's doing, he seems very not real, like not genuine.
He seems ingenuine in things, yes.
Well, yeah. Also, he's just, I don't know. He feels kind of
Also, he seems like an egomaniac.
That was I was getting ready to say. He's very high on his own supply.
Yeah.
You know?
His ego matches the amount of muscle he has.
Yes.
Yeah, God. You ever like look at like old clips of The Rock or when he was younger?
I watched his first match the other day at work. I was just killing time.
Yeah.
When he was Rocky Mavia or whatever. He
Yeah.
was like the island boy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it looks like
He looks like a completely different person.
he looks like a completely different person. Yeah.
And now his neck has gone through more character growth than he has.
In any movie he's ever been in.
Anyway, Coyote v. Acme.
Yes.
He's not allowed to have character growth because he's not contractually allowed to lose in
He
a
can't
film.
lose in a film. That's very
But,
true.
Yeah, Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah.
Acme
So yeah, they were planning on shelving this thing, never releasing it, taking a $30 million tax cut.
Internet hears about it. Everybody gets mad because it sounds good.
Yep. And
Plus,
so
it's bringing Looney Tunes characters kind of back into
bringing them back
into the spotlight again.
So Warner Brothers has pivoted, and now they're looking to sell the movie to another distributor, which is going to be weird because it's going to end up on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
It's going to end up on it's going to end up on some streaming site. Mm-hmm. And you know what?
But I'm good with them as long as we can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The big thing is there is a congressman who caught wind of this, and I wish I could recall the congressman's name. If only there were some sort of internet for that.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But basically looked at it and went, this seems anti-business, and we should look into this because this seems like some sort of scam.
Because it does.
Because
it, does seem
it
like
kind
a
of
scam.
is. It seems like a scam. So now the feds are getting involved with Coyote v. Acme, the film.
So that's
Weird.
It's a weird place to sit.
Weird times, man.
Because I don't, on a personal level, I don't want to see the government getting more involved in private businesses, I guess.
But when the private business is doing the bad,
Yeah, is scamming people us out of tax.
Yes, they're
Stuff.
they're doing
Yeah.
it. Well, I guess technically they're scamming the government.
Yeah, scamming the government. Yeah,
scamming the government, and
because they will come for their tax money. It's what they do.
and the bunch of actors and CGI artists and
Oh, yeah, all the
directors
people who
and
worked
crew
on
people
it.
who worked on it, who were probably looking to get some kind of residual from the film, at least on release. But if the film's never released,
or even just have more
credit-
credits
have
on
more
their
credits, yeah.
IMDb.
something
Yeah.
on
What
their,
if- what if
something
you're
on
a-
their resume.
what
Yeah.
if you're a brand new CGI artist? This is the first film out of college that you worked on, and
No,
it never gets
yeah.
released. No one can see it. How do you put that on a resume? You can't.
Exactly.
It also shows like
And there's probably an NDA involved, so you can't even have it in your
Yeah.
portfolio.
Exactly.
the zero amount of faith that Warner Brothers has in their legacy characters.
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote you associate him with Warner. He's a Warner Brothers Looney Tunes character. Like,
Yeah.
Which was like their mascot for the longest time between
Yeah.
that and Batman.
So
it stinks all the way around.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. So we have one last thing. We'll talk about it quick. And I mean, it is kind of a bummer. We're going to get into some YouTube drama
YouTube
because
drama.
I've thought long and hard about this, and I have some opinions about it.
All right,
So,
let's talk about this.
there is a YouTuber, Jirard Khalil, goes by the moniker The Completionist. His whole deal is he 100% video games every week, does reviews of them, practically kills himself doing it because, it's not like the old days where games take, 15 hours to get 100% of everything. These are like multiple 100 hours.
He
worth of
always
things.
seems so tired.
He
in
seems
every
so
video.
tired. And in every bit of media, he seems like a nice guy.
He comes off as a real affable, friendly dude.
I met him briefly at a con years ago, at Indie PopCon, one of the first ones that they did. He was a guest there because they had media guests. And the couple, he seemed very genuine with his fans. He seemed to be very friendly. He took the time to talk to everybody. Talked to him for a few minutes about YouTube and media stuff, and he seemed just a very down to earth kind of guy, just a very good guy. People online have nothing bad to say about him
until
however, ...
...
No, so one of the things that he does is he is a big proponent of dementia research because his mother passed away from dementia, a really rare form of dementia, like retrograde dementia, something like that.
Yeah, she got it way younger than people normally do.
Yeah, it was kind of a big thing, and he and his family set up a charity called the Open Hands.
His latest Shovel Knight video actually goes into it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it was also very good. It was a good video.
It was a good video. He does quality work. He worked for G4 for a while. He does quality work. So he and his family started a charitable foundation called the Open Hands Foundation that they take, donations
for dementia research.
Dementia research.
He does a big thing, a Twitch stream called Indieland. I applied for that this year.
Oh, really? You did?
Did not receive a response.
Bummer. But Indieland is huge. They raise a ton of money for dementia research, and he has always said that it goes directly to dementia research. However, it has come to light that the money that they have collected for the past decade.
It's a long time.
It's a long time since its inception.
I watched a video about this today.
I have as well. It did not go to dementia research.
Luckily, it didn't go anywhere else.
It didn't go anywhere. It has been sitting in a bank account, just sitting for 10 years.
So at least he's not using it to buy...
It's not embezzlement, technically. It is still defrauding the public.
Yeah.
And because I saw this happen, and I was like, my first thought was, well, the money's still there. They could still donate it. He could do the right thing. The more I thought about it, and this is not hearsay. This is not, this is fact.
You can look at the filings they've made as a personal foundation to see this information.
Yeah, this is all public information.
And he has admitted in discussion about this that he knew, so he didn't know the entire time that they were holding on to funds.
He's known since
2021.
2021.
He's known for the last 2 years. He continued to present the Open Hands Foundation as sending money directly towards research. Therefore, he was lying directly to the public, knowing full well that the funds were just going to a bank account and sitting.
And also, as a public foundation, they are legally supposed to give a certain percentage of that money somewhere.
Yes.
Or else you get into trouble.
Which he is going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
And I also originally thought, well, he didn't know. He's just a face of the foundation. As it turns out, no. It is owned by Jirard Khalil and his family. His father is the president of the organization. That is, all the higher ups are the Khalil family. It was started in his mother's name. So it's been tough because I like the guy, but nice guys can make bad mistakes. At best, he is a terrible businessman.
Yeah.
And at worst, he is an excellent actor because he's tricked the entire internet into thinking that he is a good person. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still watch this. I wasn't a huge fan of, I didn't watch all of his stuff as it came out. But if I was hard up for something on YouTube and he had a new one out, I'd give it a watch.
His videos aren't that long. I usually watched them when they came out because
I probably still will if he's still making them after this.
I have actually stopped.
Really?
I've actually unsubscribed from him and stuff. My thought process is, you know what? There are many other people in the YouTube content creator space that have done less, that have warranted me dropping their content and not supporting them any longer. It would be hypocritical for me to, just because he seems like a nice guy, to give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll let him slide on this.
And you're not wrong.
This wasn't a snap decision. This is something I've sat on for a couple of days. And to be honest, he's a YouTuber. Who cares? This really isn't a big deal. But it's he screwed up.
Yeah.
He screwed up.
I can't remember the last YouTuber I got upset about and unfollowed. I guess pro Jared.
And again, I'm not upset about it, but it's just like...
And that was a bunch of like he said, she said garbage that didn't really matter.
Well, there was one bit that did matter.
With the completionist, he is at the very least complicit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's 100%.
He did a crime.
He did for 2 years and didn't do anything about it.
He did a crime.
It's one of those things where if he found out about this 2 years ago and was like, we need to donate that money, it needs to go somewhere, what are you doing?
Yeah, why didn't he fix it immediately?
Then that would be fine. Or if as soon as this news came out, he put out a video
like a
immediately
statement
saying, hey,
We're
you know what?
It.
It's being fixed right now.
He's been radio silent since it
completely radio silent,
happened,
and it's been almost a week. And that leads me to believe that there is
something else going on.
I know in some of his videos, some of his Let's Play videos, he has casually mentioned about how his company is always kind of on the verge of falling apart. I am a little concerned that it's going to get worse before it gets better.
I guess one thing I can kind of hope for
and he only had one more game left to do on his New Game Plus.
Yeah, right. That's a shame because that dude's been through a lot. Yeah. He had to redo his first 120 videos because a guy got salty. His original co-writer got salty and decided, I don't want my stuff to be associated with any of your things, and if you do, I will sue you. So he had to redo all of his original videos, like completely.
Yeah.
Guy's been through a lot, but that doesn't excuse him from...
My thing is, if it's just been sitting in an account, okay. I mean, they didn't steal it, so yeah, that's less scummy. But
the funds depreciate over time. Cost of living goes up. Cost of everything goes up.
Yeah.
The money that is in that
it's
fund
not going to stretch
as far as it would have
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And people gave it to him under the impression that it was going to be used for something, which is the definition of fraud.
Yes.
When you give someone money under false pretenses.
Exactly.
At the very least, I can hope that maybe it was in some sort of savings account.
Where it's gaining interest.
Yes, where it's actually gaining interest.
Yeah.
But even at that, has the gained interest been enough to counteract the amount that
of bad will?
He's gonna have a hard time bouncing back from this.
Oh yeah.
I saw a tweet somebody did. It was, how about you complete this game? And it was a picture of TurboTax.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was good. Yeah, that was good. So yeah, sorry to end the show on kind of a bummer, but
that was a good joke.
That's the way it goes. That was a good capper, though. I like that. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and support our Patreon at Nerd Overload Now.
You can send us an email, staff@nerdoverload.com, or you can give us a call on the Nerd Overload hotline. The number is 419-561-5556. Leave us a message and we'll play it on the show. You actually have to talk, though, when you leave the message. We've been getting a lot of
dead air.
Okay. We can't really do anything with that.
Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, we'll play dead air. That's fine. Whatever.
We have our own dead air we can play.
I don't think the radio station will like it.
Probably not, but you know. You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. Finally, I would like to thank Parker for the help over at the Facebook page. He's been putting in a lot of work over there. And David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
You don't have to worry about us doing any money type fraud because we don't have any money.